Welcome back to another Spinato Spin. This is the show where we try to motivate you, get you focused. And I want to talk a little bit about focus, but I want to talk a little about just fighting back, doing something special, and having reasons to do it. That's what's going to help us out the most. But let's talk a little bit about just focusing. You know what happens a lot is there's one question that can really set the tone for what we're going to talk about right now, and that is, who controls your focus? Who really makes the determination of what you're going to focus on? Is it your internal drive, or is it an external drive? You know, somebody walks into the room while I'm talking to you right now. Is that going to change your focus? Someone drops a pot or a pan or a dish. Is that going to change your focus for what you're trying to do? What do you focus on? And what does it mean to you? That's going to determine a lot about how you feel about things. You know, there's people out there that they have a dream, all right? You know, the old saying, Martin Luther King was the one who said, I have a dream. Well, a lot of people have a dream, all right? And the funny thing is, how long did it take for people to have their dream extinguished? How long did it take for that dream to die? We all have a dream of doing something special. Maybe when you're little, you wanted to be a fireman. Maybe when you're little, you wanted to be a nurse. Maybe you wanted to be a teacher. Something drove you. Maybe you wanted to be a great football player. Something drove you, but things got in the way. Things happened. Your life changed. Maybe you just, thought about it for a while and then said, you know what, I really don't want to do that. Something stopped it. Something maybe changed in you where you don't think so much of yourself, so you don't think you deserve a great dream. I believe we all deserve a great dream. I believe we all have something inside of us that hasn't been quenched, something that hasn't been satisfied, to make things really true and really happy for you and reach your fulfilling points. You know, there's 8 things I listed right here. I'm going to go over them point by point on why people quit. Now, I'm not saying this to be a negative. I'm not saying this to be a downer. But think about this. Reasons why people quit. Why do they stop? Well, they get rejected. You know, maybe you have a dream of opening up a restaurant. Maybe you have a dream of cutting hair for a living, opening a salon. Maybe you have a dream of doing something special, be part of something really big. And you try to get people to work with you because that's the only way it's going to work. But then what happens? People say no. Well, a lot of people just can't handle the rejection. They just can't handle it. They don't understand. How can people say no to me? Everyone says yes to me my whole life. Why would they say no now? Why would they say no now in such an important thing? Can't they see what I see? See, that's tough. Some people can't handle it. Doesn't process. Doesn't work for them. They don't understand it. You know, there's a lot of things out there that ain't going to work the first time. You know, it was Thomas Edison who tried how many times to invent the light bulb? Anybody know the answer to that? Well, tried 10,000 times, folks. He tried to invent that light bulb 10,000 times. What would have happened if he quit? We'd all be sitting there in the dark, wouldn't we? We wouldn't have the luxury of light. You see, the whole concept is that there will be rejection. You got to see that in the future and just say, I'm going to fight through it no matter what. Rejection is nothing. All rejection is telling Thomas Edison is he hasn't figured. That's what they said to him. How can you keep going after you went through 10,000 times and not been able to come up with the light bulb? He said, well, I learned 9,999 ways that it didn't work. That's an incredible answer, isn't it, folks? And that had to be his answer every time. Well, the rejection, when it hits, you say, I got to change my approach. I got to want it a little bit more. I got to get more information. That's how you fight through certain rejections. The other thing is family. See, the family's going to see you suffer while you're trying to make a certain change or while you're trying to do something different. You see, the family doesn't want you to go through any pain. Even though you might have committed to the pain, they just can't handle seeing you suffer a little bit to get something done. And plus, they don't have the desire that you do. They don't realize what the price really is for what you're putting yourself through. That's why they're going to put pressure on you to quit. You got to reach above that. You got to be tougher than that. You got to say, now look the family's not going to be receptive to this. I got to try to win them over. I got to do whatever I can to make them see what I see, to share the vision. The other thing that's really big is just the weekend. You know, you got to commit some time. You got to pay a nasty price if you want to get your dream. You want to get something special. You want to jump out of this rut. You know, the simple expression is, you know what a rut is? A rut is no different than a grave than just having the ends kicked out. You ever hear that expression? Well, that's what we're all in a lot. Most of us are in one of those type of things called a rut. We're not getting out. We're not getting anywhere. You know what they say about jobs? The journey of the broke. Just our body. What are you doing? You're going to live in paycheck to paycheck. That's no way to live. You got to fashion a life for yourself. You got to build something you want to be proud of. You got to be somebody that you always dreamed of being. And I'll tell you what, the weekend isn't the way to get it. You know, the old saying, you ever hear this one? The road to mediocrity, the road to staying right where you are is an 8-lane highway paved perfectly. 8-lane highway, just get in the car and drive. No, folks, you got to carve a new road. You got to do whatever you can to get to that goal, to get to that spot you want to be at. The other one is kids get sick, right? Kids get sick. Now what do? I didn't plan on that. You know, you got little kids, they get sick. What do you got to do? You got to take care of them. Well, you know what you need to do? You need to get in the mindset of, I know it's going to be a little bit tougher now that they're sick. I know we got to work our way through what's going on with them. But you know what? I'm not going to lose my focus. I'm going to stay on this, and anything time that I lost, I'm going to make up for. I'm going to come back stronger and better than ever once they get a little bit better. And I'm going to keep working even though they're a little sick. I'm going to make sure that I get things done. You know, you can't just back off and say it wasn't meant to be. You can't do that. There's too many people out there like that. You know, only a small percentage of the people in the world, I spoke about this last week, have goals. Well, how are we going to teach people how to set a goal and hit a goal if we're not an example of somebody hitting goals and setting goals? I got a goal every day. I mean, it's a very minute goal, but it's something I'm proud of. I work out every day, okay? I don't miss a day. I've been doing it for 8 years, 280 days, whatever it's been. That's a goal, all right? I keep working out every day. I mean, I got to get better at all the goals I set. But I'm telling you right now, and I'm giving you some information that you could take to the bank. All this stuff is common sense, and it makes a lot of sense the more you imply, the more you do, the more you understand, the more research you do, the more people you hang around with that want to do something special. That's where you got to be. You got to be able to fight through those kids' illnesses. You got to fight through your own illnesses. There's a lot of people that have been sick and down. Look at Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The guy had polio, and he still was the president of the United States. You ever think of that? Think about that. The guy had polio, and he was the president of the United States. Can you believe that? That's just incredible. That's called a no-excuser. Okay, there's no excuse for not making it. Look at Lance Armstrong. I don't know what he did that was legal or illegal, but he had cancer. He was dying. They told him he's going to be dead in a few months. Oh, what does he do? He winds up winning races. It's an incredible journey that these people have taken, and they've taken it to show us the way. Do whatever you can in the face of illness, face of anything. Just keep fighting, keep going, keep charging. And the other one is friends. Friends tell you to quit. Again, almost like family. They don't want to see you go through any suffering. But you know what it is a lot? They don't want to see you get ahead. Did you ever hear the story about the crabs in the bucket? Real simple. I got a whole bunch of crabs sitting in a bucket. I got one lid. I got another bucket with one crab in it. Where do I put my lid? I put the lid on the one with one. All right? Because the one with a whole bunch of crabs, I don't have to worry about them. No crabs are getting out. No crabs are getting out of there with all those other crabs pulling them down. But that one crab by himself, he just gets up there and crawls out and nobody bothers him. See, that's what the human being wants. The human being wants you to suffer with them if they don't feel good. We're competitive in that way. We don't want anyone getting ahead of us. See, if your friends feel like you're leaving them on the dock, they don't want that. They're going to shoot a hole in your boat. They don't want you flying. They don't want you going away. But if they're not ready to do the work and make something happen, they're jealous of you. You got to understand that part about human nature. You got to understand that everyone wants to do something special. You got to be a leader. You got to turn it around. You say, no, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. What are your goals? What are your dreams? You got to try to encourage them to have a goal and a dream themselves. If you love them, you probably will say that. The bottom line is you got to keep charging, and you got to make something happen. You can't let things let you down. The other thing is it's real simple. I ran out of money. I couldn't afford to spend time working on my dream. I had to pay my bills. That's all I can do. Well, it ain't that simple, folks. There's another saying, too. All you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. Well, you didn't do all you can do. You ran out of money, you probably didn't manage your money right. You got to set goals. You got to figure out how you can work this in. You got to have a vision of how you're going to do things, so that way when things get tough, you have the resources to figure out how to keep going. You know, money ran out. Those are all excuses, folks. They're not conditions. They're excuses. You can't have excuses if you want to do something big and you want to fulfill your dreams. It's that simple. I've heard this a million times, and it's so true. I mean, I lived through whatever I had to live through, and I did whatever I had to do, and I know I fell short, but I ain't giving up. I might be, a little beyond the age of whatever it is. Understand this, folks. How old was Ray? Well, first I got to tell you who this guy is. You ever hear of Ray Kroc? Well, okay. Well, he's the founder of McDonald's, okay? Ray Kroc was 57 years old, had already had his gallbladder removed, and was barely getting by. And that's when he founded and started McDonald's. You heard of McDonald's, right? Well, that's how he started building that. That's how he got the thing going. He was an older guy, and a lot of other people would have gave up on his dream by that stage. Would have said, oh, no, ain't meant to be. I'm too old. It's over. It ain't over. You ever hear of Colonel Sanders? How old was he when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken? Well, I'll tell you what, he was no spring chicken. He was an older guy. He had gotten his Social Security check. He looked at the check and he said, I ain't going to live like this. And he went around the country sleeping in his car and doing whatever he had to do to show people the recipe that he had, a great recipe about how to make fried chicken. He went around, he showed it to them all, and he said, just give me a little bit of the money. If you use this recipe, people will buy it. And they all said no. So what'd he do? He said, I'll open up my own places. I'll go around and open up all kinds of places, and people will buy my chicken out of a cardboard box. Credible stories, folks. You can't give up. You got to find ways to do things. You know, the last one there is recreation. Would rather have a break. That's true. Most people will just sit down and rest. Most people will just say, well, that's enough. I'm all done. I gave it my best shot. You know, you can say I didn't try. I'll just go back to the rest of them. You know, nobody could say that they didn't see me give it a good try. Hey, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it at all. You got to keep charging. You got to keep finding reasons. Keep finding reasons why you want to do it. When all the adversity hits, there's a couple of photos here we can look at. Yeah, this is it. Persistence overcomes resistance. Remember that, folks. A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Over and over. How does a stone cutter cut a stone? He keeps chopping and chopping and chopping until he splits the stone wide open. You gotta be relentless. You gotta want it so bad you can taste it. You gotta be willing to get up. You gotta be willing to get up and fight every day, folks. That's all there is to it. You gotta stay with it. Let's go through a couple more thoughts. Be somebody nobody thought you could be. There's an old saying. This one's a good one. Jonathan Goth, a Renaissance type of guy, philosopher back in the day, he had one good quote that always stuck in my mind. He said, If you look at a man for how he is, he only gets worse or he stays the same. But if you look at man for what he could be, he'll become what he should be. That goes a long way, folks, deciding on whether or not you're going to be promoting people, going to be denigrating them. But the bottom line is you got to promote yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You got to do something special every day. And every day is going to lead to where you want to go. I'm so proud of everybody out there. So proud. We get a lot of tweets, a lot of texts coming in about the Spinato spin. We really caught on. We're excited about the future. We're excited about 2017. You ought to be. This ought to be the greatest year of your life. We believe in you. We want to see some great things happen. Keep the stories coming. I'm going to be posting them. I just contacted an individual here, wrote a book on motivation. He might be joining us for a couple minutes for the interview, with a quick interview for us. Spinato Spin's taking off. I hope you are, and God bless, folks. Thanks so much for joining us.